in a safer manner, and more prepared. I don't want to train because I don't want my legs to be sore. This is a super valid concern, and a lot of times that has to do with how you set up your program. And I handed out a little program example there, and we're going to go over that in a second and kind of talk about some of those things. But, you know, one thing that you have to know is that don't vary your exercises too much as you start to get close to the marathon. So if we look at our marathon program and we've got 25 weeks to prepare, you know, once you're in that 10 weeks to the marathon type of range, keep the exercises the same. You know, as you're further out, you can be more creative and you can try other exercises, but the main thing is every time we change our exercises, we get sore because it's a different stimulus. So if you stay with the same exercises, you're going to limit that soreness. The other thing is understanding how the resistance training works in with your running program, and we're going to talk about that in a second with the sheet that I've handed out. And they really need to work together in order to prevent you from being sore. And that goes with scheduling the high intensity days on one day and the low intensity days on the other. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the high-low principle here in a second. And then the third thing is we don't want to get big and muscle bound. And this is kind of a silly one. Obviously, runners lift with very low amount of volume. You know, you're training 2 times a week. The volume is very low. There's not a whole lot of stimulus for hypertrophy to take place. And on top of that, you're doing too much endurance work. You know, preparing for a marathon, there's just so much endurance work. You're burning so many calories. There's really it's not a great environment to grow. So I wouldn't even, that should be the least of your concerns. So now you're probably asking yourself, okay, I'm sold. What do I have to do to strength train in the gym? Now I know I need to do it, so what do I have to do? And like I said, your strength training program needs to reflect your running program. So the amount of times a week that you should train, it's going to vary based on what you can tolerate, but generally I say that 2 to 3 times a week is going to be optimal. 2 times a week is probably going to be closer to when you're in the race season. So for example, again, if we go back to that 25-week schedule, you know, out on the weeks number 25 through maybe 15, 14, 13, we have this huge window of opportunity where the running volume is relatively low and we can do a little more strength training, and that's when we have to make sure that strength training takes precedent because we need to get strong and we need to fix our mechanical problems, okay? So we can't just run and hope that it takes place, you know, everything takes care of itself as we get closer to the marathon. We have to make sure we fix the problems at the appropriate time so that we don't have to worry about fixing them later. And you're not calling me 3 weeks before the marathon saying, man, my hamstring hurts, can you come like do some work on it and give me some exercises? And I'm like, a little too late for that, you know, good luck. We'll try. Hopefully you can get through the marathon. Take care of the problems earlier in the season, okay? As you get closer, you can start to teeter back. 2 times a week is fine. And then once you're in that 5 week or 6 weeks out from your marathon, that's when you're in the high running volume. You know, you're going to go out on Saturday, you're going to do your 20 miles. The next week you're going to do your 13, and then the next Saturday you might do your 22 miles. And, you know, you're starting to taper down. And the goal there is really to not get injured. So, you know, volume of training is very low then, maybe 1 time a week. You're using your foam roller, you're doing your stretches and your mobility work to keep the hips moving, to take out the tissue stress, and you're doing just a very low volume of strength training to maintain that adaptation, okay? So what does efficient strength training program look like? So I handed out an example, and yeah, pardon? Do I have any more? There should be some.
No,
they were circulating.
There's no more.
I will email you. What's that? Oh, you got one? Okay.
Jennifer and Jerry, you want to hurry? Jerry?
So if we look at the training example up there, what you see is 1 day of a workout, and I placed it out for 4 whole weeks. And basically it goes in the same order that your running program would go in. Usually when we look at our marathon program, we go 3 up, 1 down, right? So we start in week 1 with a certain amount of miles, and then week 2 we increase, and week 3 we increase, and then week 4 we lower it down in order to allow our body to recover, and then week 5 we start to ramp back up again. And I did the same thing with the training program. So again, the strength training program mirrors our running program. We go 3 weeks up, 1 week down, so that we can keep our high intensity work together and then our low intensity week 4 work together so that we can allow ourselves to recover. I use a total body workout there. I like the total body approach. It keeps the volume low, right? So you can train 2 times a week. You can work your entire body out. I like it also because when you work with split routine, obviously if you might come in on Monday and do one group exercises, and then Tuesday a different group exercise, and Wednesday a different group exercise, and before you know it, you lifted weights 5 days a week, and you say, man, I'm really sore. This weight training thing, it doesn't work for me when I'm trying to run. It's like, it's not the weight training doesn't work, it's your program doesn't work, okay? So we keep it to total body workout, we keep the volume low. We use free weights. This is a big thing. Runners come in, and sometimes I'll get a runner and they say, yeah, well, my trainer has me do it, and I do the leg press, and then I do the leg extension, a leg curl, and I do 20 to 25 reps because I want to work on my endurance. It's like, nothing you can do in the gym is going to mimic the amount of endurance that you're going to need to run a marathon. So if you're doing leg extensions and sitting there on the machine for 20 or 25 reps, you better just go ahead and do that for 3 hours if you want to work your quadriceps for marathon endurance. In the gym, you build strength. Out on the road, you build your work capacity, you build your cardiac capacity, your aerobic ability, okay? So we use free weights. Machines lock us into one plane of motion. So we have 3 planes of motion our body can move through. We have our sagittal plane, which is pretty much front and back. We have our frontal plane, which is everything side to side, and we have our transverse plane, which is everything that's rotational, okay? So machines, they lock us into that sagittal plane. And when you think about running, it is a sagittal plane movement. We only run straight ahead, but we're not locked into that movement. And we have to be able to prevent unwanted movement in other planes. And you can see this if you go out to the races, and you may have seen it before. You'll see people who are running and their knees are buckling in, or maybe they're toeing out every time they take a step, and they get that that whip with their lower foot or their lower leg. They can't control the other planes of movement, right? So when we do our weight training, what we want to do is we want to get ourselves in a position where we can stabilize those other planes of movement. I like single leg exercises a lot. For most people, I like squats and deadlifts. I think those are important exercises. Yes, I have lots of people do them. If you're working out by yourself and you're not confident in putting a bar on your back, and am I doing this right? Am I going down low enough? Don't do it. Just don't even do it. Just do the single leg exercise. It's a lot safer. You'll hold dumbbells at your side, keep the weight off your back, and you'll be fine. Unless you're working with someone who is qualified to coach you on how to do those exercises properly, and I think they're great exercises. But if you're going to the local gym and the trainer's giving you the leg press, leg extension program, and you ask them to teach you squats, I wouldn't even bother, because chances are, if that's what they think you should be doing in the gym, they don't know how to teach you to do a squat or deadlift anyway.
Are there squat machines though?
Again, it's a machine that locks you into a fixed plane of movement, right? You want to be able to work on stabilizing all planes of movement. So if I have a bar on my back, or if I'm holding dumbbells to do a squat, or down at my sides, or I'm holding them up at shoulder level, now I'm working in real time, right? I'm not stabilized on anything, so I have to control my own body to produce quality movement.
Even if the amount of weight is so much less? I never know how to reconcile that.
Yeah.
So you do so much
Yeah,
more.
you can do so much more with a machine because you're locked into that movement. You don't have to worry about stabilizing, right? The problem is that if we are locked into that movement and we can load up the leg press machine, well, now we're loading up joints that are unstable. We're loading up our body in an environment that's stable, except we can't control that when we get off that machine. So how efficient is it, right? I'd rather see you stand here and do a single-legged squat with your body weight than sit on a leg press machine and do 400 pounds, because you're going to get more out of this. Okay? This is you in real time. This is you controlling you, not you controlling a fixed platform that doesn't move. It has nothing to do with what goes on outside of that machine, right? You're locked into that machine. So once you get off that machine, this is real time. Okay, this is what it's all about. Because now we have to work with all these other forces that are going on, right? And you'll see it. You'll see people do their squat and their knee will come in, or they can't go down far enough, and they'll say, "What happened? I can leg press 500 pounds." Yeah, that's great. You can leg press 500 pounds, but you can't take it and translate it to anything that's usable in the real world. You know, how efficient is that?
Other question, does the weight training help with some type of biomechanics?
Does it help with?
Well, I have a biomechanical problem I've had, even